Okay, so I had to come in here and like interrupt you guys because I heard you talking about Social Security and
Was I a little off?
No, we were off.
Well,
First
okay.
of all, you bring this article
Yep.
that I have no idea about, this blogger, and I have no idea about Social Security.
Yeah, and I do.
I clearly don't either, so.
Hi, thanks for joining us. I'm Lana,
And I'm Mark.
and we're here just to talk about real estate, small business, and just life.
Turns out, most people who watch or listen haven't yet subscribed. If you could take a minute to do that, wherever you get your podcasts, we'd really appreciate it. Let's get back to the show.
Let's go.
Well, you're too young to worry about it. We, on the other hand, we're getting a little closer.
Okay.
So as you get a little closer, you kind of need to know what's going on because it's a huge revenue source. You know, it's going to make up like 30 to 50% of most people's retirement income.
There's one of the numbers we were looking for.
Yeah.
30 to 50, is that what you said?
30 to
Percent?
50% of your
Of the
income?
average return.
Yeah.
Okay.
Most people, on average.
Okay.
For some women, it's like almost 100% because they don't have any other sources of income. And, you know, it's not a lot of money.
Mhm.
So I always tell people just make sure that you understand your Social Security benefits and make sure that, one, you're not relying totally on Social Security because it's not enough. And also make sure that you're not relying on it for 30 to 50%. Like some people say, it's just extra. I'm not even going to think about it because people are worried it's going to run out.
Right.
You know, that's like the big hubbub now.
Right.
Is it going to run out?
Well, I don't have a crystal ball, but my belief, I'm an optimist.
I thought you said she had a crystal ball.
I wish, right? That would make retirement planning so much easier
Right.
Yeah, it would.
if we knew. But I personally don't believe Social Security is going to run out. You know, there's pretty much 90% of the population will need it.
So there'd
to
be a
survive.
revolt if they
There's gonna be a
truly,
revolt.
Like,
Yeah.
tried to
Yeah.
get rid of that.
100%.
I mean, they keep pulling money out of there and spending it on other stuff. So it's a matter of like
That's kind of a
refunding it, correct?
that's a misconception
Oh, is it?
too.
Okay.
Well, they have always paid it back. So people think that the money's gone out and it's never come back. But that is
But they
a
could refund
misconception.
it. Why couldn't they?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it is one of the misconceptions. But so I know you guys talked about a couple other things. Anything you wanted to clarify?
Well, actually, something you just brought up before we move on.
Yeah.
I was curious if 30 to 50% of the average folks' income in retirement is reliant on that. Is there a way they can pad it to make it a higher, like to get up to a higher level of Social Security?
The only way to pad it is to make more money because Social Security is based on your 35 highest earning years.
35 highest earning years.
Yes. So the more
As
you
an
make.
average?
Yes. So it's indexed. So 35 highest years indexed. Of course, Social Security doesn't make much easy. So it's this complicated formula that you can Google. But so the more you make, the more your Social Security benefit's going to be.
So
And
even if you made more in your last 10 years, it would still help that.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So 35 highest earning years. And then one of the things that I see that sometimes men or women can make this mistake, but let's say a woman's working with her husband in a business and she's not getting a paycheck. Guess what? She's not paying into Social Security.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So women can kind of screw themselves
Wow.
in those situations. So they're not really like.
So they should draw a check.
Yeah. I mean, in theory, stay-at-home moms, that's kind of one of the reasons that Social Security is there to protect stay-at-home moms. So if you never worked outside of the home, that's why you're able to draw on your spouse's benefit.
Oh, you can. Okay.
You can draw on a spousal benefit.
Is it the full benefit or is it partial?
50%.
50%?
At full retirement age. So let's say for Lana and I, full retirement age is 67. So if
That's right on that one.
We should play Social Security
We should.
trivia.
We should, because I just got a point. And
Most
I like to
people
start
get a
ahead.
D.
Yeah.
So
okay.
yeah,
You're up on the game. 67 is what? Tell me again.
full retirement age.
Okay.
Okay,
That's the earliest that you can
no
start taking, yeah?
no earliest. What age is the earliest?
70?
I had
No,
63
62.
originally.
62. Point for Lana.
I was actually wrong there. I thought they moved up the the age where you could start taking it to like 67.
No. So that's actually one of the ways that you can make Social Security last longer is move the goalpost, right? Change it. So in the future, 62 might not be the earliest age.
Right.
They may move it out
because
Social Security was put in place in 1935
yeah.
and by FDR, and it hasn't changed. Like those ages haven't changed, but we're living longer, right? So the idea
sort
is,
of.
Well, if you look at statistically, if you live to age 65, your longevity is higher. So you look at longevity or life expectancy from birth, it's less. But if you look at it from age 65, so if you live to 65, your odds of living longer are higher. But
it makes sense. And then I think the other way to put it from the medical side is people are just taking longer to die. In other words, they're treated like people are just walking around in a state of decay that has been extended longer than it ever has been as well.
Medicine,
and that's hard to quantify.
Modern medicine has.
But the cynical side of me just wanted to point that out too.
Yeah, that's okay.
It has nothing to do with what you're saying.
That's okay.
I just couldn't help myself.
That's okay. No worries. But there is something called longevity literacy in the United States and maybe worldwide. But people really don't have a good understanding of longevity and how long people live, because you do hear about. My brother just passed away a month ago at 66. Unfortunately, he wasn't healthy. He didn't take good care of himself. So you always hear about those people that are younger than the typical average. So I think right now, if a woman lives to age 65, she has, I don't know the percentage, but it's likely she'll live to 86 on average. Okay. I have a lot of longevity in my family and my extended family. So, and I think compared to past generations, we're much more focused on health, right? Women.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, I run in a lot of female circles and we're all about, okay, let's be healthier. Let's eat right. Let's move. Like we have different attitudes about life. And anyway, so longevity, I think of actually Social Security as longevity insurance. And so for me personally, I may wait. There's the argument to take it at 62. There's some people that believe take it at 62 and invest it. But if you wait, Social Security goes up about 7 to 8% a year, and it's guaranteed. So if you think
a significant chunk,
right? So if you say, okay, am I going to wait and take it later and get that guaranteed 7 to 8%, or do I take the money now and invest it? Some people feel like bird in the hand, like take it at 62, invest it. Stock markets returned average 9 to 10% historically over the lifetime of the stock market. So it's
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So talking about that claiming 62, 70 is the max. So unfortunately, I had this woman reach out to me probably a month ago. And she said, I'm 73. I haven't taken Social Security. I was like, you didn't benefit yourself by waiting 3 more years.
Wait a minute.
It maxes at 70.
So you can't take it at 70.
You can.
But that's it.
But there's no reason to wait till 73. It doesn't keep going up. So
so your maximum benefit is at 70.
Yes.
So what was this? You said full retirement at 67. So what's the difference between 70 and 67?
So full retirement age, you get 100% of your benefit. Okay. If you wait till 70, you get 120% of your benefit.
Wow.
Yes. So it continues to go up the longer you wait. So I actually have this Social Security decision tree because there's a number of questions to ask to help you get to the answer as best you can, right? We don't have a crystal ball. I actually did a video on TikTok about the Social Security decision tree. I had over 1.5 million views on it.
Come on.
35,000 people requested the Social Security decision tree. So I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to respond to 35,000.
How do you do that?
I don't know. I responded to like 100. I'm like, here's the link. Here's the link. So a lot of people want to know about Social Security.
Well, we feel like idiots because we both wanted to have a conversation about it because I think we want our followers and listeners to also chime in. But I had no idea. In my brain, Social Security just meant all that money that you were that was taken out of your paycheck all those years. They put it in a savings account and you get to draw based on the total that's in there.
Social Security is a pooled fund, so it's a social program.
Okay.
So it's a pooled fund. So everybody shares in that fund. So I had a woman reach out to me a few weeks ago as an example, and she said, I collect my Social Security and my husband passed away, and I called Social Security to get his benefit. I'm like, no, you don't get both. You're a widow. If his benefit was higher than yours, you can get what's called a top off, up to 100% of his, but you don't get both. And she's like, yeah, but he paid in for like 40 years. It's not fair. And I said, but that's the pooled nature of it.
Right.
They're relying on some people dying, some people living, and it's a shared pool.
Yeah.
So however, there's that instance, but then you have, let's say you got married and you had a couple ex-wives. Okay, sorry.
Let's not.
I don't know if you're married.
Marissa,
I'm married. I
Marissa,
plan to
don't
stay
pay
that way.
attention to this.
Okay.
No ex-wives.
If a guy had a couple ex-wives, not
Yes.
Mark, they could both claim on your Social Security benefit. If they qualified, they have to meet the
Do
qualifications.
they have to split it, or can they
No.
each make an individual
They
claim?
each make an individual claim. So
Oh,
that's
neat.
another issue that they need to do away with, because
So wait a
that would
minute.
help extend.
How do you qualify?
So for ex-spousal benefits, you have to have been married 10 years.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And then your benefit has to be less than 50% of your ex. So, and that's at full retirement age.
Oh, okay.
So let's say you wanted to claim on your ex at full retirement age, you would get 50%.
Yeah.
If you claimed at 62, you get like 32%.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
reduced. Yeah. So it's
Interesting.
Do you have
it's a
any
gradual
exes that Marissa should
Nobody
know
has
about?
any claims.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
But you know what? A lot of women are afraid because they've had like a really bad divorce, and they're like, "Oh, I can't." You know, the divorce agreement said I can't get Social Security. I'm like, there can never be a rule like that in Social Security. It's a federal government benefit. It cannot be put in a divorce decree.
They're probably misunderstanding, like
They're
about a pension
misunderstanding.
or a 401k or something.
Misunderstanding, and they think their spouse or their ex-spouse in this case will find out if they claim. Your ex-spouse is not notified
Okay.
when you claim on his or her benefit. So you don't need to be afraid of claiming what you have access
That's solid
to.
Okay,
info.
I got a
Yeah.
question.
All right.
Yeah.
Got a lot of people I know, and I'm not putting down the Walmart people, the greeters.
Mhm.
But I know a lot of people retire.
Yep.
Can they still work? Like do a little part-time job
Yeah.
like that and still collect their Social Security? Do you have to be fully
Yeah.
retired?
So before your full retirement age, you can work, but your
Oh.
Social Security, if you earn over 24,000 every year, it changes like 24,320, I think, for 2026. So you can earn up to that amount before your Social Security is reduced.
Oh.
So up to that amount, you're good. Any amount over that in the year, your Social Security is reduced $1 for every $2 you earn over that amount. Then once you get to full retirement age, you can earn as much as you want, and your Social Security is not reduced.
Meaning 67.
67.
Okay.
Now, here's the thing a lot of people don't know, and this is a misconception. You have that money taken out. Let's say you earn $50,000, right? So $1 for every $2 over that 24, your Social Security check is reduced.
Mhm.
When you reach full retirement age, you're going to get a credit back for that.
No way.
Yeah, it's not a lump sum. They recalculate your Social Security based on the amount you had withheld. So people are like, well, why wouldn't I just do that? Well, because sometimes people are on a budget and they need that money now. They don't care that they're going to get it back later. They want it now. But so many people think it's gone forever.
How do
But it isn't.
How do they know they're going to get it? Like what is that? It's just an automatic?
Yeah, so I would always reach out. I don't count on
Yeah.
Social Security, any social program to be my advocate.
Right.
So I always say that to women. I've had so many women reach out to me and say, I called Social Security and I told them, I was divorced and blah, blah, blah. And they said I couldn't claim on my ex. And I was like, and I just said, okay. And I'm like, no. You get it in writing. Tell them to explain to you, because you and I had a conversation. It seems from my side that you qualify. Call them back and get it in writing. So I always say, advocate for yourself. And if you've turned 67 and you worked and you had some money withheld, you go to the Social Security office, have all your documentation, say, when will my credit be put back, or when will you recalculate? Don't rely on Social Security doing it automatically. And I always tell people, don't wait until you start collecting Social Security to look at what your benefits are. Go to the ssa.gov website, set up an account, look at your statement, and if anything's wrong, correct it before you start claiming
Oh,
Social
that's
Security.
smart. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought of that.
What would we see that's wrong? Like, what is something that you've heard that is wrong?
Unfortunately, people are like, I don't know what I earned for my highest 35 years.
Right.
Yeah.
So I looked, and I had like a gap of a couple years. I'm like, what is that? I've never not worked. So I had to contact them and fix it. And it's a bit of a process, but do it before, because you don't want to be like, typical is like 4 months before you want to claim your Social Security, you start applying, you start the application process. You don't want to be screwing around with records then if you're counting on the money.
Yeah. When you could have just done it a year ahead of time, 2 years ahead of time, whatever.
Yeah. And always just like I say to women, I'm like, when you talk to Social Security, they can be wrong, right? And people will call there looking for advice. They're not allowed to give advice. They can only give information. So you can't rely on a Social Security. Now, some nice Social Security man may try to give you advice.
Yeah.
Technically, he or she's not supposed to, but don't rely on that.
Right.
One, because they're not supposed to, but two, even the information they give sometimes is wrong. They're just, unfortunately, which is sad, because you think, I'm relying on these people.
Right.
Their Social Security.
You'd think they'd be experts in their own field, but you can't make that assumption.
You can't always make that assumption. I mean, you guys know that in your professions, right?
100%.
You see, I went to a town clerk office one day to ask about a rule, and they didn't know, and I was like, wait, I'm the only homeowner ever to ask this question, and I'm like, okay, this is really strange. So I went and I asked ChatGPT, and I got a different answer. I was like, okay, this is so weird.
Wow.
But, yeah. So there's some other misconceptions.
Yes.
So we talked about waiting until 70.
Yeah.
So there is a break-even point. And you can, if you're savvy with a spreadsheet or whatever, most break-even points, which is meaning, was it better for me to wait or take it earlier? The break-even point is somewhere around early to mid-80s. If you take it early versus waiting.
Okay.
Wait. So Lana's like, wait, what?
What?
Yeah. So the break-even point. So if you waited, right, or you took it early, the break-even where you'd be better off having waited is like early to mid-80s. So people are like, screw that. Why am I going to, what's the chances I'm going to live to my early mid-80s?
Statistically, not that great.
Yeah.
So might as well take it at 62.
So take it at 62. However, there's situations, right? If you're still working, right? How much income are you making? All those factors. Health plays a factor. Also plays a factor is if you're married. So if you're married, oftentimes it's better for the higher income earner to delay waiting.
Okay.
Because historically and in our society, men were making more money in this scenario, right? So, and the man's going to die earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So the woman's claimed hers at 62. Maybe she's claiming and she's getting $1,200 a month. And the man in this case is getting $3,000. He kicks the bucket. He kicks the bucket. They have the funeral. Wow, he's sad, Anyway, and then she goes, we're going Sizzla, because she can now switch and get $3,000 a month versus her $1,200. So it's protection for your spouse.
Oh, cool.
If you're the higher income earner.
Okay.
So it's not just take it at 62 for everybody. You have to look at your strategies. You have to look at all the things in my decision tree. And hopefully from this podcast, I don't get 30,000 requests for my decision tree. Right. Because I won't know what to do.
You got to figure out a way to do that. Respond to that.
HerSocialSecurity.com is the answer. You just go to
Social Security.
HerSocialSecurity.com.
We should probably introduce Lynn.
I guess.
I mean,
she does seem like kind of a rando that just came in off the street.
I was walking down the street and I heard you guys talking about Social Security, and I'm like, God, they're like typical Americans that get a D on Social Security, but that's okay. It's okay because
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, this weekend I'm going to learn about Social Security.
Yeah.
Like, who does that?
I know.
Yeah.
Me.
Fascinating.
Because I have no life.
All right. This is Lynn Toomey.
Hi.
This is
Hey,
Lynn
Lynn.
Toomey. She's the founder of her HER retirement.
Okay.
She is also. Oh, wait a minute. Tell me about her retirement.
Yeah,
really
is that
quickly.
an acronym, first of all?
Her? No.
Yeah. Okay.
Just her, meaning her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, people that identify as her, I guess, is the new thing. But anyway, yeah. So it is for women because women have extra challenges with their retirement and their finances. They live longer. They make less. There's the gender gap, the pay gap, the savings gap. There's lots of gaps that women have. So I wanted to address those gaps and speak directly to women and educate women on women-specific issues. So I created this platform, Her Retirement. I am not a financial advisor.
However, you're a co-founder.
I am a co-founder of a financial advisory practice, but I've never really been on the client side. I was on the marketing and operational side. And then about 5 years ago, I taught a class called Her Retirement. And I had a bunch of women and they were like, this is great. This is so good. You have to teach more of these classes. So I reserved the URL. And today, it's what I call a retirement readiness platform where I educate women. And I kind of think of it as the stop before you ever start planning your own retirement or you meet with an advisor. Because oftentimes women will meet with an advisor and they don't know any, they're like, I have a 401k, but that's all I know. And so they're not familiar with investments and insurance and taxes and Social Security and healthcare and all these things. So what we do is we educate women and then we help them identify what they have, what they're missing. I call it their gaps, their risks, and their opportunities. And then when they sit down with an advisor, they're more educated. So they don't go in just at ground zero. They can go in. I give them checklists. I give them things to ask an advisor to vet them so that no advisor can pull the wool over their eyes.
Yeah. So you're empowering people.
I am trying to empower women.
Cool.
And, like I said, they can do it themselves. They can meet with an advisor. I am building a network of people to help women in this transition because it is one of the biggest transitions. And oftentimes it's in parallel with other transitions. Average age of a widow is 59. Wow. So you lose your husband or your spouse and then you're also retiring. It's just a lot. And even divorce, I'm in a divorce group and so many women are, do I take the house? Do I take the 401k? What do I do? So many questions. So it's really helping women identify answers to questions that are circling around in their head. As an example, I just met with a woman. We used my software platform that I've developed. She went through the whole platform. She identified what she has financially, what's missing. And then she and I kind of went through her gap report. And I just highlighted all her potential gaps, gave her a 6 to 12 month checklist. I gave her a list of what to ask her advisor. So her advisor's probably, I don't know, if he's a good advisor, he will be like,
he'd probably appreciate it if he's good, right?
If he's not, I'm like, he's going to be squirming and sinking down in his chair.
At least she'll know quickly what she's dealing with.
She will. So, I charge for that coaching, but it's worth its weight in gold.
It's very valuable.
Yeah.
I just came up with your acronym. So it's Her Empowered Retirement.
I love that.
You're welcome.
Yeah. You want a marketing job?
No, thank you though.
So my question was going back to Social Security though.
Yeah.
Is how do we know which thing to pull out of retirement first? So say you have annuities, pension, 401, whatever you have, savings accounts.
Yeah.
And Social Security.
Yeah.
How do you know what to pull out first?
Yeah. There's a lot of trade-offs. I call it's retirement income planning. So a lot of people go into retirement and they don't have a retirement income plan. A woman I talked to 6 months ago, she's like, oh, I have my money in Fidelity. And I called and I said, I just retired, meaning she left her job because sometimes people say, I just retired and it means they started Social Security.
Yep.
But in her case, she had stopped working. She called her Fidelity guy and said, when do I start pulling from my 401k? And by the way, when should I take Social Security? And his response to the second question was, well, just take it when you want. And I was like, what?
There's a thorough answer.
oh, wow,
Oh my
that's so
gosh.
irresponsible. But nothing against Fidelity.
No.
They're a great company.
Yeah, they are.
But this gentleman should have said, I'm not a Social Security expert.
Right.
Yes.
So I can't answer that question
Shouldn't
for
be
you.
dispensing that advice.
Exactly. But in her case, what I told her was, you know, you didn't know, but you did things a little, as my mother would say, bass backwards. The first thing, do a retirement income plan before you quit your job, before you quote retire from your company, which that retirement income plan looks at what I call guaranteed income sources.
Oh, right.
Social Security, annuities, sometimes reverse mortgage, life insurance. Those things can be guaranteed income. People will chuckle at Social Security as a guaranteed income. I'm like, today it's still a guaranteed income
as far
source,
as we know, right?
Right, as far as we know. And then you have to estimate your expenses, what you think your expenses are going to be in retirement, including healthcare, and do you want to take a trip, and you know, all the stuff you want to do. And then you subtract those expenses from your guaranteed income sources. Most people have a gap. And then you look at what are your other things that you can pull income from, right? Do you have rental income? Are you still working?
When you say they have a gap, you're being very kind by saying they're falling short on what they need.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just want to clarify.
The biggest source,
like the math doesn't math.
The biggest source for filling that gap is people's 401ks and IRAs. That's why retirement savings accounts were created, because pensions, for the most part, have gone way of the dodo bird, as they say. You know, there's still quite a few pensions.
Oh, I said some stuff that made sense.
Good. Yeah. Okay. Well, because companies just aren't doing it. Government, you know, federal government, state government, teachers, pensions, right?
Pensions.
Worth their weight in gold. But for a lot of people, those went away. And so they came up with this idea of their 401k and the IRA. And that's self-discipline to save, right?
Right. That's the tricky part.
That's the tricky part. And I'll have people, I have a family relative who said, I just wish that I could have just taken Social Security, the money that it put in, and I could have just chosen how I wanted to save and invest it versus the government doing that for me.
Right.
But behavioral finance says
they won't do it.
Most people won't do that.
Right.
There's very few disciplined people. You have to just look at how many people, and you can argue that, you know, people didn't have extra money. And today you can argue with inflation and cost of living and how are people supposed to save?
You can.
But I believe where there's a will, there's a way. But I do get that people are in situations where they don't control things. But anyway, so to fill that gap, you look at your 401k and your IRA. And that's where it gets into, okay, well, what do I draw from first?
Right.
Do I start my Social Security at 62 and then I delay pulling from my 401k?
Right.
Or do I start my 401k and then do it? So that's part of retirement income planning. I call it running a series of experiments.
Okay.
Saying, okay, if we did this, if we did this, if we did this. And then, of course, you've got the whole tax part of it, right?
No.
Because 401ks and IRAs are tax deferred.
Right.
So you got to pay tax down the road.
Oh, my God.
So you're like,
I don't know
okay.
if I can retire.
Well, depends on how big your nest egg is. But that's why you just need, and I always tell people, do a retirement income projection at like 50. Do it at 55. Do it at 6. Like, you don't have to wait to do it. You can say, let's test this now, and then test it in different market environments, right? Because that 401k, right now the stock market's doing great, right? 401ks are looking good, the balances and stocks and portfolios. But you want to run it in a down market, right? When the market's down 20 to 30%. If you can make it then, you can make it in an average. And so that's all part of retirement income planning, is stress testing what you have, making sure you're accounting for inflation, right? So many people are like, oh, I ran a spreadsheet. And I'm like, did you put inflation in there?
Right.
Oh, yeah, my spreadsheet didn't account for inflation. Well, inflation can have a big impact, right? So yeah, so retirement income plan is a key starting point to decide where to draw from, especially if you have taxable accounts, tax-free accounts, tax-deferred accounts, and there's a fourth bucket. It's a triple tax-free account, which is a health savings account.
Oh, gotcha.
Got that.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we've been
good
kicking
job.
that idea around. Okay.
Oh yeah, health savings account is awesome. And then in that tax, the tax-free, I guess, bucket is what's called a Roth IRA.
Mhm.
So you're not getting any tax benefit up front, but you're going to get benefit down the road. So I'm always like, you got to have diversification. Like people talk about their stock portfolio being diversified. Well, your tax buckets
Also
have to be
diversified?
diversified too. You don't want all your money in a tax-deferred account.
Question.
No.
Because what happens is that affects Social Security taxation, because that's another misconception. People are like, Social Security is not taxed. For a lot of people, it's not, but for a lot of people, it is. So that can affect your Social Security. It can affect your Medicare premiums that you pay. So you don't want to mess around with
We
taxes.
didn't even hit on Medicare yet.
No,
Oh,
we haven't
no.
touched that with a 10-foot pole.
I know.
No.
I have no
No.
idea what that is all about.
Oh, Medicare's, I call it the Medicare maze. I have a company that's really good at figuring out Medicare for people. I know enough to teach a class on it, but I'm just like, call this 1-800-Medicare number or whatever.
Yeah.
Don't write that down because that's not a real number, but it might be.
I was hoping you're going to say the name of the company, but we're not quite giving them a shout out.
If you want to be a member of my my collective, you get access to the Medicare resources. So that's the other benefit.
I don't think I'm qualified to be a member of your collective.
Yeah, no.
But Marissa could be.
No,
she could be.
Marissa could be. Yeah. Well, and I always say that I get annoyed because I'll be hearing about advisors. Some advisors, because the average advisor is a little older and a little more focused on the man if a couple comes in. And it's another reason that I've created this platform for women, because women have been kind of left out of the conversation or ignored. Like I went to buy a car. The guy didn't even look at me. Like he was just talking to my partner. And I was just like, this is like 2022.
This is not the first time we've talked about this in this room recently too.
Right.
I know.
And the car was for me.
We had a financial advisor in here and she was explaining how much wealth is going to be transferred to women specifically. It was like $20 trillion, if I remember correctly.
And it was 95% is going to go to women.
Yeah. Like when all the boomer men die off, all that wealth is transferred to women. And she was kind of, I think, concerned that there's not enough education because they're not used to handling it. They're not used to handling the finances, so they have no idea what to do with it.
Right.
And it's like a huge problem.
Yeah.
And even if they do have information on how to handle it, even if they are educated and have learned, I don't think that it's still set up for a woman to get it, because just the way her comment was, when we go and present our case to our person, they're kind of shocked that we know what we're talking about. So it's still like that.
They're not used to that. Well, I always say that I do some things with advisors. So I'm not just coaching women, but I'm transitioning to coaching advisors on how to work better with women, how to be a better partner, and leveraging my resources that I've created for advisors to supply to women. But I always say, when you have a couple, make sure you have as much conversation with the man and the woman equally, and maybe even to the extent that you have a separate meeting with the woman, because she might not want to say some things in front of her spouse. But also, they have a plan, right? They have a couple plan. What's the plan if the woman becomes a widow?
Which is likely. That's the likely scenario.
So you have to have a plan.
You have to plan for that, for
yourself, and including Social Security. So any misconceptions we missed? Gosh, we talked about it.
Well, I have a question. I don't want to forget to ask you.
Yeah.
Do most people, when they let's say that they did their retirement income plan, and then they actually retire, do most people find that they need as much money as they thought they would need, or do they end up finding that they actually need less?
Yeah. So I'm in a bunch of different retirement groups. I'm in groups where there's more affluence, and I'm in groups with women that are just retiring on a shoestring. That's actually the Facebook group that I'm in. So I see the spectrum, and it truly is a spectrum. I think that there's a group of people that retire with too much money. Maybe that is what makes them happy, but they've been petrified to spend because their whole lives they've been savers, and that's been their mindset. And it's hard to switch from saving to spending, right? It's a behavioral thing. So oftentimes you have to say to people, it's okay. Like we had clients that we used to have dinner with, and she wanted a new cashmere sweater. And her husband was like, well, we really, I don't know if we can do a sweater. And I was like, let her buy the damn sweater.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are fine. Like, you were an eye doctor.
You're not
like,
going to run out of money.
Yeah. In their case, they're living really, really old age. So they're like beyond probably their projections, but that's another issue. So sometimes you can project, some people want to project out to 100, right? So there's this fine line between, having too much and having too little.
Okay.
So I think that you will find people that realize, oh, we have plenty. Like, let's just spend more now. But that's why either you or have the discipline and you can DIY it and check in with yourself like every year and say, where are we at? Are we on track? What's the economy doing? And then if you have an advisor, you run those numbers every year.
So every year is okay? I feel like a total slacker when I don't think about this. And then when I'm doing my taxes or something, I have this conversation again, or we have this conversation again, me and my wife. And it's like, man, I haven't really given this any serious thought since the last time we did this, which was probably a year ago.
Yep.
And that's okay? That rhythm is okay?
Yeah. I mean, so I'm talking pre-retirement versus in retirement.
Yes.
So I think you can be hyper vigilant. And I also think there's another component to this, which we kind of focus on the financial, but there's the non-financial, right? So
what the hell's the non-financial?
Yeah.
All I think about when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah. What's your
Enlighten
life
me.
purpose? Yeah. There's got to be a balance, right? You got to live, right? You can't just be.
We talked about this.
Well, we did talk about this a little bit. Like maybe you go volunteer for something that you really want to do.
We were
like,
talking
you mean
about,
like how you spend your time?
Yeah.
Or something else?
So I'll give you an example. My niece was, good company, good job, big house, car, and she just left. She retired. She's homeschooling her kids. They downsized, just changed her life.
Yeah.
Her brother tragically passed away. He's 40 years old. She's like, you know what, dude, like life is short, so she's like, I want a different life. So it's values. It's how you want to spend your time, your life. I just had this conversation with my daughter. She's going to med school. And I was like, she's stressed because she's studying and doesn't have a life. And I'm like, next 10 years, you're going to be studying and schooling. And so it's life choices. And it's harder, I think, when you're younger to realize how fast life is.
Yeah, it is.
And you're like,
it doesn't feel fast.
How much time do I want to trade for money?
Yeah.
So, and I think the older you get, the more you think about that.
I love that what she just said. How much time do you want to
trade for
money? Yeah.
Because we were just saying that too, that sometimes we were thinking about the article that we were referring to, the blog, and retiring like 30, 40 years old, right? And thinking about that. But if you work really, really hard and you get to a point where you're like, okay, I want this life shift change, then you did all this hard work, you saved, you did whatever, you can go to the job that is maybe less pay or less hours or something, because that is what your true passion is.
Right.
Yes.
Right? But if you start out with like, I don't know, I'm going to work at this and I'm going to make $5 an hour, whatever, and you think you're going to retire so great, well, you're not going to, because you have this lavishing idea. But if people do put their time in and do it, and then they realize this is not for me anymore, great. What is for you? That. Are you in a good position to do that?
Yeah.
You might be.
Yeah.
Because all you're doing is working. All you're doing is saving. Great. Guess what? Now you can go do that.
Yeah.
Right.
I talk about work optionality. So my goal is to help women make work be optional.
Nice.
Because my company's called Her Retirement, but to be honest, I don't know if I will retire completely because I love what I do. It challenges me. It keeps my brain sharp. It keeps me around interesting people.
Yep.
And I think retiring, in the Japanese culture, there is no word retirement.
That's cool.
They don't stop working.
Ever?
Okay.
No. But they're not working necessarily for a paycheck.
Right.
They're working in the fields, or they're taking care of grandchildren.
They're volunteering and they're
doing. They're just constantly doing.
Not sitting in front of the TV rotting.
Right.
Right.
Because I think that's what people have, that misconception of retirement. I was talking to two ladies last night for dinner, and one has retired just recently, and very successful husband, ran his own business, and then she was in another field. And I said, you must be going stir crazy. And she's like, you know what? I actually learned how to read a book sit down and read a book, because you think that you're just because you're working and stuff that you don't have time. But really, if you just sat down to read a book, like she has enjoyment of that. And she said, I don't feel like it's a waste of time. And then she's like, we actually doing puzzles. Like there might be a rainy day, so when we don't put the boob tube on, we sit there and do a puzzle, or we sit there and do something. She said, and sometimes we'll take the puzzle and go do it somewhere else.
Oh, fun.
So I was like, because I'm always thinking, what's your purpose today? What are you doing, Lana? Why aren't you doing anything? Well, is there a need to do? It's maybe that you are doing, but maybe you're doing it on a lesser scale, but it's good for your soul.
Yeah.
You know?
It's got to be good for your soul. And I think I see a lot of people retire, a lot of men, and they don't really have their plan, what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Depression's very high among men who retire. Society kind of says, well, it's time to retire. You know, there's this concept of get your Social Security at 62.
Yeah.
But do you really need to retire, right? Maybe you want to go do something that you're passionate about. And hopefully, if you have some financial foundation and freedom, you can make that work optional, or you can go choose to do something that you're passionate about.
Right.
I meet so many people that have started something like a lavender garden, or,
that's random.
Yeah. The gentleman we had as a client started a lavender garden. So many different things. Another one is a dentist, and he started wood burning. So that's like his new passion.
Nice.
Yeah. Instead of drilling teeth, he's like drilling wood.
So funny.
Yeah. So, but it's just.
Mark, you could get the farm you want.
There you go.
You want a farm?
He wants a farm.
I almost bought one.
Oh, you bought? Isn't that expression? When you
That's
buy
an
the
expression for dying too. Yeah. Bought the farm.
Oh, yeah.
It
That's
fits.
where that comes from.
Yeah. By the way, boob tube, you dropped that, and I just want to let the younger members of the audience know that means a television. I haven't heard that in a long
Me
time.
neither.
Where'd you pull that out from? Boob tube. My parents used to say that when I was little, but I haven't heard it since.
I don't know.
Wow.
It's just
I'm going to say
I don't
that
even know where
now.
it came from.
right. That's a little embarrassing. It's like that was just kind of...
I'm not trying to embarrass you. It's just I imagine there was a few people that didn't know what that meant. Think so?
I think so.
Think there was enough context clues there to figure that out. Okay.
Oh my God.
It made me wonder where that even came from, though.
Yeah.
It always seemed strange to me.
Yeah. I guess I never thought of it.
Well, you learned some. Well, no, you already knew it. It just was lost.
I knew it.
from
I
your
just hadn't
memory.
heard it in
Yeah,
such
you're
a
like,
long
I would
time.
never ever say that, but now you will.
Now he's
I
gonna-
feel
Your
like
wife
it's
is going to be like, what?
boob tube.
You want to watch the boob
You
tube
guys
tonight?
talking about?
But you know what? That takes on kind of a new context.
Kayla, did you know what the boob
Right?
tube was? Okay.
Like, where did that come from?
Well,
Who
no,
started calling it that?
it takes on a new context because it might be
It does.
more like not rated for children.
It might not be.
Well, listen, we just had
sorry. Are we off course?
Yes, we are.
You guys are now Social Security.
Yes, experts. We're going to get A's or at least B.
I think we could at least get a B at this
Yeah.
point, probably.
Maybe.
Because some of this is like, is
There's 567 Social Security rules. So
that all?
Mhm.
Well, that's good. That makes it very clear
the
and simple.
government's so like, yeah.
I love bureaucracies. They just thrill me.
Exactly.
yeah.
We'll see what happens with Social Security. But for you, I would just plan around it maybe being there. I want to be an optimist and say it's going to be
do
there.
too.
I
but-
just think you're 20.
You know, we
Oh, how old are you? Are you like 67, but you look
no.
27?
You're
Yeah.
probably in the right ballpark. I'm 40, almost 46. I'll be 46 Saturday, actually. It's not too early to wish me happy birthday.
I'll be on the 31st, the big 6-0.
She's just skipping the whole
I'm
happy
not
birthday
saying
part.
how old
I know.
I
I'm
am.
going to say
All right.
happy birthday to you. Happy
Okay.
birthday, Mark.
Happy
Thank you.
birthday.
47.
40, I'm turning 46.
All right. So Gen X.
Just to clarify.
So Gen X, yeah, it's not too soon to kind of, start.
We're thinking about it. I've been thinking about retirement since I started working.
Yeah.
Because, my dad talked about it a lot. Not that he was a person to retire early, but he was, I told you earlier, like he's one of these, I got lucky with growing up in a family that actually talked about finances
Good.
and actually talked about this stuff.
yeah.
I got really lucky because I didn't know that most families don't talk about money.
Right.
They don't.
Exactly.
Most people are afraid to talk about
Yep.
income and retirement and
Mhm.
finances and debt and all these
Yep.
even among friends groups, a lot of people just don't bring it up.
Yep.
And I find it's top of mind a lot. I mean, it's like when we all agreed to do this collective society thing and just like not subsist on hunting and gathering and stuff, we kind of decided that we're going to rely on money as our security.
Right.
So it's like, if that is our form of security, how do we not talk about it like all the time?
I know.
It's like kind of a big deal.
Well, I think it becomes an ego thing to me. I think when people talk in my circle, it comes from an ego point of view of what I make. That kind of
I think if you make decent money, that's sort of where it lands. Like you're not allowed to talk about it unless you're struggling.
Yeah,
you know,
and
like
it's worse for women too. Like we definitely weren't, and we weren't like, we're not supposed to be part. I mean, 1975. Not until 1975 could we get credit in our own name. It's wild. It's so wild. We couldn't have a mortgage. Like it's just mind-boggling that it's been such a short amount of time. And then you take this concept of retirement and it's not that old. Like it's just not a concept. And like the complexity of retirement today isn't what it used to be, right? Because people died at younger ages and they had pensions.
The pension thing.
And they had Social Security and they were good. But that's gone away. So people have a lot more to figure out for sure.
Did corporate pensions used to transfer to spouses? Is that why there was less planning needed?
It still can. You have different payout options. So you can do joint survivor, sole. My mom actually, an ex-husband of hers, they tried to track her down for 3 years because she was a beneficiary of a pension.
Wow.
And she was like, wait, he got married and no, he'd been married 2 times after her and they all died. So she got the pension.
Wow.
And so she used it to get a brand new car. And that was her Bob car, we called it, because that paid for the car. But yeah, so the pension, that's what you did. You decided how the payout would be structured and it could go on to your...
So maybe that's why people worried about this less.
They did.
Because everybody, well, not everybody, but like pensions used to be super common and now they're not. So everybody's just scrambling to figure it out.
Right. And longevity, people didn't live as long in retirement. And I would argue that life was cheaper and people didn't consume as much. They didn't need as much money.
I think you would argue correct.
Right?
Well, I think people didn't consume a lot.
Yeah.
As much. Yeah, for sure.
There weren't as many things to buy.
Of course.
Well, and our society tells us to buy stuff.
Right.
And we have Amazon.
They want us to go in debt.
I mean, not only can I buy it, I can buy it right now.
On the way
It'll be on my doorstep when I get home.
I texted my son. I'm like, there's an Amazon package getting wet on this doorstep. Go grab it.
It's crazy.
100%.
But it's crazy convenient too.
It is. So, Lynn, thank you.
Yeah.
And little did we tell our followers and listeners that we just called you and you randomly came in to help us.
Yeah.
You rescued us.
10 minutes away. I was like, all right, I can talk about this stuff at a moment's notice.
That's super cool. No, we appreciate it.
So if you need to reach out regarding Social Security, you can reach Lynn Toomey where?
Yeah. So if you have questions about Social Security, I have that decision tree that I mentioned.
Yes.
And I have something called an e-kit with all kinds of resources. It's called hersocialsecurity.com.
Yes.
So go get smart about Social Security. And if you want to just look at general resources, at herretirement.com.
And you're on TikTok and definitely on Instagram and Facebook. And YouTube.
We know what you meant.
Not BoobTube.
No, YouTube.
YouTube on the BoobTube.
You will find so much information. She is so knowledgeable. And I hope that you found this interesting because we would love to have your feedback on it. I'm Lana Kopsala from Coldwell Banker in Leominster. And I have with me
Mark Fratoni from Wachusett Home Inspection in Leominster.
Yes. So hope you subscribe, follow us, listen to us. And lastly, if you would love to be on our show, we would love it. Feedback or just topics that you want us to talk about, we would love to hear from you. So thank you so much. And thank you, Lynn.
Thank you, Lynn.
Thanks, guys.
It was a pleasure to meet you.
Likewise.